the call.
Oh, okay. We're just sharing where your agency, and then if you have attended or if you put on a fundraising event, just a great one that you've been a part of.
Okay, I'm Jacqueline Gibson with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Iowa, and we just recently had a breakfast that is centered around getting more monthly match folks. We call them matchmakers, and there are it's a monthly giving program where we have sustainable giving throughout, each year. And we celebrate the graduating littles from the mentoring programs that we, as part of our mentoring program. And we had 14 graduating littles this year. So that was an event most recently, like as in last week, that was a program that I put together with the help of my team.
Awesome, thank you. Lynn.
Hello, Lynn Carroll from Heart of Iowa, Big Brothers Big Sisters. One of my favorite things United Way has done like 2 years ago happened to be a talent show. People from the community could be a part of it, and you voted by dollars, and they made darn good bucks for that. It was very successful, but very entertaining as well.
Great, thank you for sharing. Jamie.
Muted.
Jamie, it looks like your phone's muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Jamie from New Opportunities. I'm the mentoring coordinator. I'm the new Jane. So, hi Jane, how are you?
Hello.
I just started in December, so I also have not actually put on any fundraising events as of yet for our mentoring program. So I'm really excited today to hear some different ideas and get planning on some stuff for us. I did, when I worked with the middle school, help with some different PTO carnivals and things like that, but I haven't done anything for our mentoring program yet.
Great, thanks for sharing and for joining us today.
Thank you.
Regina.
Hi, I'm Brianna March. I'm the new Regina.
We're so confused why Regina was still joining us. We're glad you're joining us today.
Yes, and I've only been in the position for 2 weeks at New Opportunities as the mentoring coordinator. So I have also not done any fundraising or awareness events. So.
Okay, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Rita.
Hello. Actually, I'm going to talk about a fundraiser that is not related to mentoring, but it has brought in a lot of money for a campaign. And it actually was trivia night, and teams were put together to compete for trivia night. And there was businesses, organizations, and just groups of people, teams of 5 to 6. And people seem to be into trivia night. It's important to have prizes because they want to compete and win. Of course, what they win could be of no value whatsoever, but it's just the idea of competition. And it ended up having a couple hundred people participate, with teams each having to have an entry fee.
Great. Did your team win, Rita?
No, actually, I was part of organizing it, so it would be unfair for me to, because I knew the questions and I knew the answers. So,
Great,
but
thank you.
Also, it was very important to have a sound system because people get so excited when there's trivia night, and it maybe doesn't sound, but once they got going on it, it got kind of noisy. So.
Oh yeah.
Sarah Walker.
Yes, I am with Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Mississippi Valley, so Scott County in Iowa and then several counties in Illinois. two of our largest fundraisers. We have an annual plant sale. We've been doing that for this was our 28th annual. We just finished it up about a month ago. And then the other is an indoor mini golf course called Putt Around, and local businesses and organizations each design a unique mini golf hole, and we have them all set up at a convention center. And then over the course of 4 days, people come in and play the course throughout the day. So the other one that we're in the process of doing, it's our first year, is an Over the Edge event. So that is held in August. So we're working on that one, but this is the first time we've done that one. So it's been a bit of a learning curve, but it's going well so far.
Sarah, do you want to tell a little bit more about Over the Edges for people that didn't know?
Yeah, so Over the Edge, they're actually a national company, and they work with different organizations in different communities, and participants from the community raise funds. So it's like a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign. They raise funds and then they rappel over the side of a building in the community. So we're having ours, it's over the side of Black Hawk Hotel, so which is a historic landmark in Davenport. People pay, they raise their, you set your limit at whatever you want based on your fundraising goals and get sponsors. But then throughout the day, individuals rappel down the side of the building.
Wow, I wasn't aware of those.
Yeah, once we started really looking into it, I mean, it's a really cool event and opportunity, and we've had some pretty good response so far. So excited to see how it all plays out, but so far so good.
Something different.
Yep.
Great, thank you. Tony.
Hi, I'm Tony with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Iowa. My coworker Jacqueline already talked about our breakfast that we had last week. That's definitely one of my favorite events as well. But another fundraising event that I enjoy too is actually with my kids' school. We just have a school auction that has both a live and silent auction aspects to it. That's pretty fun, and it's just been a real good fundraiser for our school in the past.
Great, thanks for sharing. And last but not least, Val.
Okay, am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay. We have what we call a Mustang Foundation that supports our special, like our art classes, and raises money for us to write grants for throughout the year. And they do a dessert dinner. It's usually sold out like 6 months before the event. You can buy a table or you can buy individual tickets, and then they have a silent auction. Sometimes we have entertainment, sometimes we don't. It depends upon the year. But then the organizations that tap into those funds sponsor a dessert, and then that dessert goes to a table, and you promote your organization and how old it is, what you've done, how successful it is, what your needs are. So it's really a nice event, and it's very well attended. Raises thousands and thousands of dollars every year.
Great, thank you for sharing. Okay, so now we know that, as well as hearing some great ideas, that everyone can, that we can hear everyone. So please do participate throughout the call. We love to hear your ideas. And also on the call, we have Jane Wilhelm.
And Jane was formerly with New Opportunities with Sac County Mentoring, and now she is with the hospital and has been participating in, she's in their events there as well. So she's going to talk about some fundraising activities that they've done there at Sac County and with the hospital. So Jane, the first stuff we have is about Table Affair.
Okay, it's great to hear what everybody's up to. It sounds like everybody has very exciting fundraisers that they have going on. One of the things that Sac County Mentoring established, one of the first years that I was there, was the Table Affair fundraiser. What got us excited about that idea was there was some neighborhood networking mini grants that were available through our DCAT, and we were able to, with those funds, get a speaker who could come in and speak to a group of people. So we decided, well, why not turn that into a fundraiser then for mentoring? And so what we did is we had folks gather up 8 people to a table. We found a lead host or hostess for the table. They gathered up 7 more folks, had 8 people around the table, and then they designed a theme for their table. And then we had the speaker come in. We tried to do underwriting as much as we could for that event. So we had the cost of the rental of the building covered, the cost of the table coverings, those kinds of things. And then they would pay a fee for each seat at the table. I think the last year we did it, it was $20 a seat. Many businesses liked to sponsor the table themselves, so they would pay for all of the seats at that particular table. What I loved about that event is we had networking going on as well. So we had an area of the room that was set up where they could either bring a display or they could bring brochures about their programs, and we would have folks have the opportunity to mingle around and grab more information. The last year that we did it, when I was there, it was really exciting to see tables like we had a sheriff's table, and we had a table from our local food pantry, and they get creative with all of their table designs. So people really enjoyed mingling around, looking at the tables, all the different designs, talking to all the different programs, businesses, whomever was in the room who supported mentoring. We also, and we tried to get a really great speaker in. We would get recommendations from, other businesses who had speakers come in. If you all haven't had VJ Smith, that's somebody you should think about having come and talk to you. He does a really great presentation and isn't overly expensive, and will grab a nice crowd of people and keep them definitely entertained. Along with that, we did some raffle stuff. In the job I currently have, we have switched more to the idea of silent auction and live auction with a trivia night event that I'll talk to a little bit later. And I think I would recommend that if I were to do the table affair again, I would go more with a silent auction. There's not time taken up within the program then so much outside of announcing who the winners are of the baskets. And in our last trivia night event here at our hospital, we had 25 silent auction baskets, and they made about $4,000. So that's an easy way. Those items are donated to you, and easy way for you to make some extra money. Let's see. What else can I tell you about the table affair? Mary, do you have any other thoughts?
Well, I was thinking, Val, this is kind of similar to your dessert table too, and I just didn't know if you had any keys to either one of you, like just for overall. I think, like you said, the underwriting and keeping, so cost, so it's all pure profit.
Right.
Val, do you have anything else? Oh, go ahead.
The one thing that I thought was really important was for that evening to be able to tell the folks at the tables that any donation that they gave every dollar would go straight back into the mentoring program. And I think people really liked that, how they paid for their table, so the funds were raised by the ticket cost of their participation at the table. We had the food underwritten, so we didn't have to use a portion of that money to pay for the food. We had the programs that were printed for the evening. Those were underwritten as well. And I think people really like that. At the end of the evening, we did a final plea for donations and talked with them about the importance of mentoring. We always told this, a few stories that kind of tugged on their heartstrings a bit. And then we did a plea, and there was an envelope on the table where they could then put a check in the envelope, and they could leave that for the mentoring program. Our average cost of fundraising with that was around the $8,000 mark for the event. I also felt like it was just a really important event to honor the mentors as well. Many of the mentors hosted tables and brought their business partners with them or friends with them for the evening. So it was a great time to honor them as well and make sure that they were recognized for everything they do and the programs we were involved with. We love the AmeriCorps and the VISTA programs, and so we always made sure that they were recognized for their work. And a few times IMP came down, so that was nice. So we were able to let folks know, everybody that we work with through the mentoring program as well. So I thought that was really important too, and it really got the word out. Almost every time we did the event, we got new mentors and new partnerships to be able to do programs and things like that at the schools.
Great.
Sorry, now, Val.
Did you have anything to add about a similar event?
No, I just think it's a great opportunity for fundraising. And I'm just very fortunate. The Mustang Foundation takes care of all the planning, and I just have to show up.
Oh, well, that's the best part. Everybody write that part down. Get somebody else to plan a fundraiser for you. That is awesome.
That way.
Yeah.
But then I don't get all of the pot either. I have to share it with the other organizations that are part of the event. So, there's a downside to that.
I would be curious, other people on the call, your thoughts on our success with silent auctions or raffles. It just seems like I feel like every fundraiser I go to does a silent auction, and that's why I was excited when you did a raffle. But maybe that's community based, or anybody else have thoughts on silent auctions and success with those? I heard a lot of others that had those as a component as well.
And you need to research the rules and regulations around having raffles and those kinds of things, and make sure you're following those guidelines as well.
Yeah, sometimes it's simpler to do a raffle, the chat box.
Yeah.
Is there any comment?
What I will say too about the table affair is that we had a VISTA member who was assigned to creating kind of a guide as to how to put on a table affair fundraiser. Jamie, I'm assuming that binder is still at the New Opportunity office in Sac County. So if anybody wants that information, that's one thing we promised with having Matt work with us, was that would be available to any mentoring program in the state. So that's an easy copy of material, and get that off to you, and it's a step-by-step guide of how to do a table affair.
Great resource. Thanks, Jane. So the other part of the table affair too that you started in was using the, I didn't put that up yet. The mobile app, Mobile Cause.
Yes. So, Regina was kind of our quote unquote specialist in Mobile Cause. She did a lot of the setup work and learned about that program a lot. But you can go to it's called Mobile Cause website, just mobilecause.com, and they have a 4-minute tour of what that program looks like. What intrigued us about it is that it's a live visual that you can have up at the front of the room, where people can live watch what's happening. They can enter their donations on their phone, and you can see it pop up on the screen that, Jane Wilhelm just donated, $100, and you would see that right away. And I think that kind of intrigued people too. They liked to see that as it was going on. But the other part we liked about Mobile Cause is they also helped guide us for other fundraising events. You could have some of that information on your website, and people can see how your fundraisers were going, and they offered a lot of guidance. And then they also offered some help with how those fundraisers then could link right into the financial department at your local business and things too. There's the possibility of doing some receipting and all of that kind of stuff, so that you can tailor that program to your need. Of course, there's some cost involved to that, but we felt like just in the one event, we had enough of an increase in our donation that it definitely paid for it at that time. So if you have a minute, go to the website, take the 4-minute tour. They will talk with you and do a session with you if you want to learn more about it. And people loved it. It was a live thermometer kind of thing that you could have up on a screen. And it would show what you had set at your goal, and then throughout the night, how close you were getting to your goal.
Yeah, it's just a fun way to engage people, and like so often these things, like you have bought the table or you've paid for that, but then people, it's just a way to get some, raise some more funds at the time of the event as well. So that the link is in the slides, so we'll send those out afterwards if you can't find it otherwise.
And I think that what was nice about that too is people could go right to their phone and do it that night. So they didn't have to fill out the paper if they didn't want to. They could just link in their information quickly that evening.
And so the event you've done at the hospital now is a trivia night, which I heard several trivia nights mentioned. I think trivia is just a hot thing now. So I guess some keys to the event that made it successful.
Yeah, so when I started here, we just kicked right off into trivia night planning. And, I think people have to look at it two different ways. Either you can have people pay for everything that evening, they can do their sponsorship that evening, they can do all their donations that evening. We do some upfront work. We go out and promote trivia night. We actually are going to be starting that within the next couple of months. And we go out and start getting our sponsorships now, and then they can, with a certain amount of donation, they can be a silver, gold, platinum, sponsor, and then they would get tickets to attend the event, included in, depending on the level of their sponsorship. It might be 2 tickets or 4 tickets or a whole table of 8. And then how we promote them throughout the evening is, verbally promoting them and visually on the slides and on their table, and, all of that dependent on their level of donation to the event. So we do plenty of upfront work for the event, and then we have a live auction with some of our bigger donation packages. Of course, the very popular ones are the Iowa State. Anything to do with that kind of stuff is popular, and those baskets go really nicely. Tickets to the games and balls and autographed things and everything you can do with that. We were averaging $500-ish to $700-ish for those kinds of products. And then we also did found some limousine rides and tickets to a show and dinner kind of thing, and that, I think last year that one went for $700 or $800. So you can get creative with your auction packages. And then something new that I implemented with them last year was the silent auction component. And we had every department in our hospital asked if they would like to create a silent auction package. And they just had a ball with it. They all came up with different kinds of ideas. Our anesthesiology team came up with a sleepy time basket and, did all sorts of fun stuff in their basket that went for, I think that one went for $400. So I think if you can get, maybe if your organization isn't as big as our hospital might be with all the different departments, you could get your partners to do different baskets for you, or see if where your mentors, where their businesses are, if they would consider doing some baskets for you. And people loved them. There was, many different kinds of baskets here. And we had about $4,000 success with that, and we had about $7,000 success with the live auction. And then our total event with ticket prices, mulligans that are sold, and then the sponsorships. So our total event ended up being $67,000 last year.
Oh. Anybody else? Oh, go ahead.
It does take some, upfront if you, want those numbers to be up in that bracket. It takes some time to be upfront, but you just spend time with your potential donors and encourage them to get to the event and buy their tickets and be at the sponsorship levels that you want them to be at.
And I think that is key for these events too, is all that sponsorship and really, like we said, that you can more than cover costs, and that's really some of your fundraising too. And sometimes that's easier to get businesses or even corporations. That's a different pot of money than their grant making, that they'll sponsor some of these things and put their name on them too.
Mhm. Mhm.
Rita, you talked about trivia too, or anybody else that's done trivia or been involved. I mean, like I said, it is kind of a hot thing right now, and I don't know what twists you've had or what tips you have for success and drawing. I don't know, like it seems like the crowds are there because people want to participate and they're used to paying for these things.
Mhm.
I would just say that it's a lot of work up front because you have to come up with the questions, come up with the answers. You try to do a cross section. You know, you do some sports, you do some history, you do some, you know, it has to be kind of anybody who might be interested in trivia. And there's some people that are really, really interested in trivia. And so you kind of have to get some easy ones, but some tough ones in there too.
Mhm.
And then they'll always dispute answers too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. They always will dispute answers.
That's why you have a judge. You have like a panel that determines how correct an answer is. So,
But talking about the amount of work going up front, I think that's the thing with all these events. We really have to be mindful of is we could talk about how much we made and that, you know, we had costs covered in that, but your time is worth something too. And, you know, sometimes I think we have to be careful about how much time we're putting in things and what the return really is on them. And the other part, I think a lot of these things, we do try to have a piece of education. Obviously, we're bringing some awareness to our organization, or if, like you said, Jane, you got some mentors out of each thing. So I think we really need to measure those things too. You know, what does that really mean? I know that's harder to measure sometimes, but if it's really thinking there'll be mentors down the line or donors down the line, like, are we following up with all those people that participated as far as donating or providing a mentoring opportunity for them as well? So I just think, you know, we really do need to be we really kind of have to look at, are we doing what we say we're trying to accomplish with these these events as well?
Mhm. I think so too, and I think it's really, really
important.
And I think it's really important to use your volunteers and your committees and your advisory groups and those kinds of things for those kinds of folks for participating in the events and taking a component of it. You know, I think that there's, definitely a group of people who this year we are having for our Trivia Night event, we're actually having a very specific questions committee, and they will be working on the questions. They'll be getting them ready for the evening. They'll all be cross-checking the questions, and so they will be doing that. And then we're going to have a silent auction committee who will help us, organize that and get that ready. So I think if you can find a couple of folks who have different interests, then I think you definitely need the hands on deck to help with it. Many of the programs that are one-man or two-man shows, you just definitely need your volunteers to be able to help with that. And I think an ask to the mentors and the mentors asking their friends is worth the time and energy to see if they would help be part of that committee work.
Yeah, great point. Lynn has a question about raffles and silent auctions. That raffles require a gambling license, but does a silent auction. And I don't know the answer to that. And I don't know if nobody's jumping right in with the answer, Lynn. I don't know if anybody on the call knows the answer to that.
Raffles they are supposed to have a gambling license. And I think you need to do some research on that. I don't know if it's a dollar amount, if it goes over a dollar amount, you need to have one, but you do need to check into the rules around that.
Okay, because I know there was a way around that too. I can't remember how we did it. Like if you do it's a drawing instead of a raffle, and then what the rules are. There's a way kind of around that too. But I don't pretend to be an authority on all the gambling laws.
No, we let our CFO deal with all of that at New Up.
Okay, the last simple little fundraiser that Jane, you guys used to do at New Ops was your jersey auction.
Yeah, the jersey auction was a great fundraiser because we all like those simple, easy fundraisers where you don't have to write a big report at the end and all of that. But our football team in the Sac City, Lakeview, Wall Lake, Auburn area school districts, they decided that they wanted to support mentoring, and so they did a jersey auction. And the football team during homecoming week had an auction where all of the seniors would auction off their jersey, and then the winner would have the jersey for the week, and then they would give that back to them at the end of the week, and then that money went to the mentoring program. We used the money primarily for games and maybe their end of the year party and their Christmas party, and we're able to get them a little something for Christmas then, pizza parties, those kinds of things. And the football team was great about that. I think our largest one was around the $7,000 mark. I think they had about 20 seniors that year on the football team. I think the key to that one is getting a live local auctioneer in to do it. They know how to get the crowd wound up and get everybody participating. Typically, it was the parents or the girlfriends that were buying the jerseys. And it was super successful, really helped with the mentoring program.
And obviously that's easier to do for school-based programs, but some of you have pretty good partners with specific schools too, and it is no cost. And also it engages pretty high-profile community members, the football team, and the coaches behind it too. So that's pretty engaging for the program as well.
Yeah, our coach always talked about the mentoring program and how they supported it through the school district, and the senior moms kind of talked about, how maybe a family who didn't have as much money, because typically it was the family who would get the jersey, or a group of family members would go in on the jersey. So we ended up finding out, one family spent $700 on the jersey one year, and we're like, wow, we didn't know that, you would want to spend that much. And she said, oh, I got money from grandpa and grandma, aunt and uncle, all sorts of different people. And then they knew that that was their limit of what they could bid on for the jersey.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Does anybody have questions for Jane on any of the events she talked about? Or also, we had a lot of things thrown out at the beginning too. If anybody, you could even just say, somebody talked about this, so I want to hear more about it. Or you could type in the chat box if you have a question about any event you heard mentioned. Okay, I guess no questions now. Lots of great ideas on here. And we did remember to record actually maybe 5 minutes in. So hopefully we caught half of what people were saying at the beginning as well, because there were a lot of good ideas on there. But if you heard something, I'm happy to connect you with somebody else that was on the call too. Or if you just say, I can't remember who was talking about it, we could try to get you to get that figured out for you as well. Thanks for being on today. And July call, we don't have a topic yet. We'll be sending out asking you please look on the quarterly report and suggest topics. That's where we get the topics from you. This is peer share, and it's not just what we want to talk about. It's what you guys want to hear about, and we'd love to hear from some of you too to share. Nobody's claiming that they're an expert. Everyone's sharing their ideas. And so we'll be asking that on the quarterly reporting. Really would appreciate your input on that, and raising your hand if there's something that you'd be willing to talk on. I usually hit up our provider board members, but I know there are a lot of other voices out there. And as we noticed when everybody's introducing themselves and giving some ideas. So thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day.
Take care, everyone.